Okay, students, so thank you very much for joining the class. So I believe students, you have checked the feedback of the answers, and you need to check the answer feedback of Mr. Sajal because he has done a wonderful way of approaching. So Mr. Sajal, by any chance, can we have a small discussion?
Yeah, sure.
Well done, Mr. Sajal. The way of thinking is perfect, and
Thanks.
that should be kept inside the exams as well. Okay, Mr. Sajal. That means that
Yeah.
presence of mind must be there. So, students, if you observe, I will connect his answer with the suggested answer what we are developing. And students, we can observe what are the things we can improve. And before I start the class, students, I need to say one thing, students. Never lose your confidence because of this mocks, because this is a real incident that takes place in my class. So, students, before I start developing the mock for answer, I need to say something called confidence building. So, this is very important for everyone in our classroom. There are some students in my past exam sittings. What they have done is they have failed all the mocks. You won't believe me, students. They have failed all the mocks and they passed the exam. They have failed all the mocks and passed the final exam. Passed the final exam. And when I asked them, how did you do that? They were clearly stating they followed a strategy called journal. So what they do with students, I think today I have mentioned, refer the answer of Mr. Sajal. So students, if you are maintaining a journal, it's a small investment. By a small notebook, that's more than enough. You compare your answer with Sajal's answer, because students, don't compare your answer with my answer, because I'm developing the answer without time pressure. But if you see, Mr. Sajal has developed the answer with time pressure. So I can say Sajal's answer is better than my answer as well, because he has experienced a different type of environment. So students, compare Sajal's answer and learn the mistakes, and gradually maintain a journal. And that students tell me, one day before the exam, they check the journal and they highlight all the mistakes. Check the journal, and what they do, students, they highlight all the mistakes. Okay, one night before the exam, they don't waste time on reading the notes, highlight the mistakes what they do in the class, and don't repeat, and they don't repeat it, and then they repeat it. And there is a second category of a student in my class. They have passed all mocks. This is a real data I am sharing with you, but failed the exams. Failed the exam. Passed all the mocks, failed the exam. So when I asked them why it happened, they told me completely an opposite. One is overconfidence. And what happened was they were overconfident. That means they are specialist. And the second thing, they never ever did a self appraisal, never ever did a self appraisal. And they went into the exam assuming that rote learned knowledge is more than enough and they can pass. So, students, again, I am telling you, in bad also there is good, and in good also there is bad. That only we say yin yang, the Japanese philosophy or Chinese philosophy. So, just remember this before we start the class. Okay, so students, now I will be starting the answer plan now. So students, the breaking down the answer. Now, first thing what I'm going to do here is I will break down the answer and show it to you. So students, in this case, we do have a reference material. And I told you, students, when you see the reference material, you just need to click on that, it will open. So students, here they are saying, Mr. Marja has sent you the following mail. We have done the approval of developing a mobile app based platform to deliver the course on demand. At present, we will be providing only for public courses. Now, students, public courses, anyone can join. So I have attached the detail of the reference material. So students, we are not sure what the reference material yet. So I will just look at the requirement first. Firstly, please evaluate the financing option. Please evaluate the financing option. Please evaluate the financing option. And also students, they are specifically stating of debt and equity and recommend. So students, one thing, I will break the question. Whenever you see this term, this is the verbs, and don't worry students, I will guide you in this. Evaluate is one verb, recommend is another verb, And then students, I can say and is a separation. And is what, students? And is a separation. So students, do you observe the color coding what I have done? Evaluate is a verb, recommend is a verb, and is a, I can say, a division. So students, evaluation I can give 30%, recommendation I can give 10%. Makes sense or doesn't make sense, students? Now, if you observe this total question, they are giving you a marks worth of 40%. So students, this I am developing from common sense judgment, because generally students, even when you do your MBAs, everything, the more marks is given to the evaluation practically. Recommendation is like the roof, the basement, the wall of the building is the evaluation, and recommendation is like the icing on the cake, and the cake is the evaluation. So remember students, icing on the cake is just a little marks, but the baking of the cake is very, 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 very essential. So students, what I will do is, this is the most easiest way to plan the answer. Evaluate the financing option of debt and equity for which organization, students? Trayyner, for Trayyner. Debt and equity for Trayyner. Debt and equity for Trayyner. Evaluate the financing option of debt and equity for Trayyner. And then students, I need to say the next one as well. I can say the next one I can specifically say is recommendation of suitable financing option. Recommendation of suitable financing option. Now students, if you observe, look at the breakdown. This is not essential to be done in the exam. I will make it, this is 10%. The weightage is 10%. And students, if you observe here, the weightage should be how many percent, students? 30%. And students, if you are a very intelligent person, debt, if you are going to analyze the debt, you will be allocating around 15% for debt of your total marks. And for equity, you will be also allocating how many percent, students? Once again, 15%. So students, are you clear with the process what we are doing now? So students, before I come into the breaking down of the next question, if it is fine for you students, can you please put Y in the chat box? Any doubts you have, you can ask me, students. But if this is clear for you, you must put Y in the chat box, students. This is the direction, students. If the direction goes out, the examiner will also get confused and you will also have stress in the exam day. Thank you very much. So students, now let's come to the secondly scenario. So what I will do is I will develop the headings first and I will come to the secondly scenario. So look at the verb here, students, evaluate. So what I'm doing is, unfortunately, CIMA system doesn't have color coding, but if it is there, it will be great. So evaluate integrated reports for Trayyner on the following capitals. Students, listen carefully. Evaluate the integrated reports for Trayyner on the following capitals. Okay, so the first thing I will ask is financial capital, manufactured capital, intellectual capital, human capital, social and relationship capital, and natural capital. So totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is the total percentage, students? 60%. So students, 60% is the total percentage. So can I write down here evaluation of the following capital as the heading? Okay, students. And students, if you don't mind, can I break it down so that it is very simple for you? One is financial capital. Then I will put for that 10%. That's clear for you all, right, students? Then we do have the next one as manufactured capital. Manufactured capital is also 10%. And then we have something called intellectual capital. So intellectual capital is also 10%. And then we have human capital. Human capital is also, once again, how many percent, students? 10%. Then we have social and relationship capital. Social and relationship capital, which is once again how many percent? 10%. And the final one is the natural capital, which we need to write it down. And the natural capital, what we have here is 10%. So students, if you observe, this comes with practice. So if you add all these 10% together, totally this will effectively come up to 60% of your answer content. So students, are you clear now in the exam day how to break down the percentages, students? So students, if this is fine for you, can you please put Y in the chat box, students? Because students, don't start write the answer directly. Break the question in the working and then start writing on the thinking aspect, because this is very, very essential. This is very, very essential. Okay. So students, now I will come to the reference material. So it's very easy for me. Now students, I have done the question. Now I am going to go through the reference material as well. We have had a board meeting and discussed the finalization of this project. And we have observed that this project will be a cutting edge for our company. Okay, so cutting edge for our company, I will just take it out. Okay, because students, cutting edge for a company, you can use it in the recommendation part. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So students, the language what they use, the board language, if you better use cutting edge. So I will just take this verb out so that students, at the conclusion, when you use the term cutting edge, it makes richness for the reader, because the listener should always speak in the way the speaker is talking, so that the speaker will be motivated. Okay, at present, we are aware that finance requirement for this project is $2000, $2000. So students, can I observe that $2000? I'll write down here $2000 is the financial requirement. We have two choices to go ahead. One is debt, other one is equity. I believe you can do the analysis on behalf of the company. Secondly, so it comes to the next one. We have seen most of the rivals are winning clients by explaining non-financial services they do. CSR project. Now, can I ask you one question? Is if when you break down the question like this of the 60%, does this has a relationship with this, or this CSR is a distractor? It's actually a distractor, students. We say this as a distractor because if you read the question first, the case study first, you may get subjected to distractors. Some things like this is a distractor. This doesn't have any relationship with the financial capital, everything, because some students have got distracted and they have concentrated on writing the other one. We have planned to develop integrated reports so we can attract more clients. So students, that's a different aspect. And here the requirement states they are not asking you to write what is integrated report or CSR. They are asking you to evaluate the capitals for our company on these things. So 60 marks is available here. So students, I believe now we have got a pure understanding of what to do in the exam. So students, I want to give you a guidance. So I will write down with a red color ink. So students, generally the examiner likes the topic WACC and this financing policy. So I want to say a hack for the exam. Start with the current financial position. Start with the current financial position, because students, I'll tell you why you need to start with the current financial position. Is what is your job role, students? Your job role is what manager, students? Finance manager. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? Because your job role is finance manager, so better to start with the current financial position. So the current financial position, you can always start with the gearing ratio, and also students, you can also connect with the interest cover, because students, don't go with the current and the quick ratio because that's the liquidity. That's fine if you go through, but I'm telling you the prioritization should be given to the gearing and the interest cover. And even if you miss interest cover by any chance, you can still get the good marks, provided that you have done a great analysis on your gearing ratios. So students, now I want you to look at the Prescene material. So I will take the Prescene material. So students, a small Y will be grateful if you are observing the Prescene material in the screen. Can you just put a small Y, students, if the Prescene Material is visible? Yes, it is visible. So students, my humble request for y'all is we have already done the short notes as well, which I have uploaded in the YouTube, and also I have uploaded in our group as well. And you can check it from my LinkedIn page as well. So students, if you observe, can we do the gearing calculation once again so that it will be very much practical and understandable? So students, if you observe, let's go for the current gearing, okay? So initially, let's start the debt aspect. So what I will do is, students, I will work with you all. So the debt aspect here is 1000. That is very clear, right, students? The debt aspect is 1000. The debt aspect is 1000. The debt aspect is 1000. And then, students, what I can specifically say is the debt plus the equity. The equity is 16,007 into 100. So students, similarly, if you observe the next one as well, 1900 and then 1900 plus, if you observe, the equity element is 15,472. Agree, students? So students, we can observe what is the gearing ratio. So students, I think you can use the chat box as well, but I will also work with you all, students, so we can calculate the gearing as well, students. So what will be the gearing, students? So let's start working. 1000 divided by 1000 plus 16,007. So here it's going to be 5.88%. So I'll write down here 5.88%. That is very clear for you all. And then, students, 1900 and then 1900 plus 15,472. That I will give you something called 10.94. 10.94%. 10.94%. So students, if you observe these two, you are seeing that there was a repayment. There was a repayment of 900. So students, in percentage terms, what I will do is the difference is 900. And students, if you observe, 1900 was the last year balance. So I think, students, they have almost paid 47.37 percentage of the debt. They have almost paid 47.37 percentage of the debt. So these are key statistical data which you can use it when you want to improve the quality of your answer. Even if you did not use this, you will pass, you will get 80. I'm 100% sure, but if you are targeting 100 plus, please use statistical analysis. And then, students, let's quickly go through the interest cover as well. So students, if you observe here, let's do the working. 52,611 divided by 114. So 52,611 divided by 114. It gives you a magnificent number of 461.5 times. It's a magnificent, it's a big number. Okay, and then, students, 56,518 divided by 60, that effectively gives you again a better number of 941.96 as well. Now, students, if you observe the debt per se, we look strong. In the debt side, we look very strong. But we have some practical consideration that I have mentioned in many of the answers. I will come and develop that as well. So students, before we go into this, so what I need to do is I will just write these things. Now, if you are a student, you need to be, even in the exam day, you do this number crunching. Frankly speaking, students, that will reduce the stress inside your brain as well. And then, students, if you don't mind, if you are clear with this numerical analysis, you can put Y in the chat box, students. And if you need to communicate, you can unmute and talk as well, students. Whatever you prefer, I always appreciate it. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So students, what we will do is, now let's concentrate on the question back. So students, in the question, let's start working on the current situation. So students, I will start writing with the normal color pen, but what I will do, students, I will make it italics so that it is very clear. So I can say here, we have a gearing ratio of 5.88%, which is almost 47.37% less than the previous year. This clearly indicates that we have a strong borrowing capacity. We have a strong borrowing capacity and a well balanced credit score. Students, credit score is highly reputed term in the Western world, students. So if you don't mind, can you just mention this credit score somewhere in your notebook? So students, this is the starting way of starting the answer as well. Okay, so I just gave the gearing position, and now students, can we continue with the aspect of writing? So students, we can start working on the aspect of writing. So students, shall we start working? Yes, we can start working. So students, observe this carefully. So what I can specifically do is the debt. So students, if you observe debt, I will start writing. So debt can be in the form of, now students, what is the requirement? $2,000. So I'm asking you a question. What is our cash balance at the moment? It is 412 and 396, and we need $2,000. And students, if you observe, our liability balance is $1,000, and if you see, our retained earnings balance is 12,021. So students, my question to you, I will come here. So I will write down the next perspective. So can be in the form of a medium term borrowing. I cannot go for a long term. I can say medium term borrowing. To satisfy the requirement of 2,000. I can mention like this, $2,000. Okay, so I can continue this further. So I can say this will be bit challenging. It will be a bit challenging since our project is a virtual project, and we don't have any asset backup. Can I ask you one question, students? If you see Uber is a virtual project. What do you say, students? Uber is a virtual project and they do not have so much of asset base. What is the reason bank is funding Uber? Can someone tell me, students? I just want you to think. Now, Uber, or if you come to Coursera or this Code Academy, everything is purely running based on knowledge. But how are they attracting the banks to lend money? Can someone think? You can use the chat box, so you can tell me the answer as well. You can unmute and tell the answer as well. What is the point of view in the banker's aspect? Retained earnings, no, funny. It's not retained earnings. Cash flow, no. Leased vehicle, no. Payment will be in advance, so no cash losses, no. Patent, no.
It's technology, I think. Technology.
Technology also, no. Very close by UK. I'll tell the answer. Innovation, no.
Innovation.
No. The correct answer is data and subscribers. You understand what I'm saying? Data and subscribers. Because if you have data and subscribers, for the bank also it is useful. But why don't you think so? Yes or no? Now let's assume if Sajal's data is taken by the bank, they can promote credit card details to Sajal. Possible or not possible, Sajal? Yes or no? And if you see, that's a win-win situation also. They got the data of a potential client without any much effort. So I can write down data and subscriber base is generally used in virtual segment. Now Facebook, how do they get money? Basically our data. If you see United States of America elections, they connected through data. So just keep that in mind, students. That is very clear for you, very clear for you. Okay, so students, before I move on to the other point of view, so I will do the argument as well. So students, I want to ask you a question. Do we have a strong customer base at the moment to give for the bank? That is my first question. Yes or no? At the moment, do we have a strong customer base? No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can I say that is a weaknesses also, students, because not keeping the data, which is a valuable asset nowadays? So I can say, so I'll continue with that. So I can say with a different color. This is the intellectual. Okay. However, Trayyner does not have a solid database of clients profiles for a collateral. Frankly speaking, students, nowadays collaterals are obtained even in this way. Vijay Mallya did that, students. Kingfisher Airlines case study, he used the boarding passes and only took the money, students. Just remember that boarding passes was used as a evidence saying that we have cash flow, and they took the money from the banks in that manner. Keep that in mind, students. So does not have any sole database for collateral. Therefore they need physical assets in order to obtain finance, and which they don't have since they are operating using knowledge. Correct, no, students? Because this business is knowledge based business, so it's very difficult to get the understanding of this. Students, Byju's, a basic example, Byju's. Sajal, can we have a small discussion, Sajal, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
But Sajal, you may be aware about Byju's, right? The learning app of India, popular app. So Sajal, did you observe once they sponsored the Indian national team as well? Did you observe that, Sajal?
Yes. Cricket team.
Cricket team. So the main reason behind that is raising venture capital finance. What do you think, Sajal? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
they already had money from students, but their major target was venture capital. So in order to build up the credibility, they sponsored the Indian national cricket team, so that the international investors will find it as a credible source to invest. So students, look at the point of view of how a marketing has helped a company to get the venture capitalist as well. So students, so I can say this is the challenge we will have on the medium term loan. So can I come to the next one? This is a out of the box thinking. Informal loan from a investor. Can we have an informal loan from an investor? Possible or not possible? Yes or no? In other words, students, I can say instead of informal loan, I can say formal. Formal will be better. Formal loan from an investor. Because students, our company has two founders, agree, no, students, two founders and some private investors. So we can request a loan. So we can request a loan at a risk premium. What premium, students? Risk premium, since they are well aware of the business cycle, I can say. Business cycle. Students, is it possible or not possible? What do you think? In a private business, can the owner give loan to the business instead of shares? Just a question. Yes or no? Possible or not possible? It's possible, students. Owner can give loan to the business. Keep in mind. I will make it little clear for you. This is not a private business. You may be knowing Kotak Mahindra Bank, right? So Kotak Mahindra Bank, can they give loan to Mahindra company? Possible or not possible? Yes or no? Highly possible, right? Kotak Mahindra Bank can give loan to Mahindra company. So what happens is, students, this is an intercompany loan. Intercompany loan, I can say. Intercompany loan is possible. Agree, no, students? And then, students, when the term intercompany loan came, can we have inter-subsidiary loan as well? What do you think, Sajal? Possible or not possible? Because, Sajal, thinking outside the box, if you observe, currently what is happening here is our currency is showing a negative balance. Agree, no? Yes or no? So can we develop an app in a other country where the currency is a little stronger? What do you think? Or the economy is on tech in the other region? Possible or not possible, Sajal? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So students,
Yeah.
just observe, this is the practical way of thinking. So one is this debt. I think if you see in exam point of view, the rest of the world would have written this point. So I can write this point. I can say not this, I can say this point until here. Until here, rest of the world would have written. Agree, no, students? This discussion is something I can say the matured guy, or I can say Mr. Michael Porter would have written this. Okay, but the yellow color is only the students would have written, but the green color is something I can make it little more attractive. Instead of green, I will make it blue. This blue is better. This blue color is something what an intelligent guy would have developed. So this formal loan can be only thought if you are involved in that business. Agree, no, students? So I can say this will be great for the business, since they can also get what, students? Tax shield. Possible or not possible? Yes or no? Agree or not agree? So can I ask you a question? Is the tax rate expensive or not expensive in this economy? What do you observe, students? We had a discussion, right? If I'm not mistaken, the taxes are a little higher. What do you think, students? Yes or no? So if instead of equity finance, if the loaners are giving debt finance, can they double benefit their wealth? What do you think, students? Yes or no? Rich dad, poor dad. He always say get the benefit of taxation, right? So what do you think, students? Can the business get a tax shield as well? Yes or no? High chances, right? Tax shield is possible. So students, before I move on to the next evaluation, any doubts in the formal loan from investors, you can ask me. But if it is clear for you, students, can you just put Y in the chat box, students? Because students, these are the practical point a real finance guy will be thinking. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will come to the next one as well. After formal loan, I can come to the next point what we were just talking. I can say inter-subsidiary loan. Inter-subsidiary loan from overseas. From overseas. So students, do you observe this? Is this relevant or not relevant? What do you think, Sajal? This point is relevant or not relevant? Do you think bookish or practical? Sajal, I need an answer from you.
Because it is a practical thing.
It's a practical, right? Students,
Yeah.
please make notes, students. I'm being very frank here. I am telling you, this is the way you pass the exam. Inter-subsidiary loan from overseas. So I'll write down here. We can consider the economy where the tech sector is developed. Tech sector is developed and we can have an loan from a subsidiary and claim it as an expense for the group and develop the product. So students, one small costing detail I will just go for you all so that it is very clear. So students, if you observe the costing sheet what we have, I'll just show it to you all so that it gives you the clear understanding as well. So the costing details. Here. So students, what is the profit we get from a course, Mr. Sajal? 22,375. What is our investment requirement?
Investment is
2,000. Correct? For the app. So can I ask you, can't we develop a crowdfunding course? Possible or not possible? Crowdfunding course, or I can say fundraising project. Possible or not possible? Fundraising project. Rather than going for debt and equity, can't we go for a fundraising project? Because if you observe students, just a normal project itself, 22,375. So just observe here, students, 22,375. Investment requirement is 2,000 multiplied by 100. So students, I'll just do the mathematics for you all. So 2,000 divided by 22,375, that will give you 8.94%. So we are only taking 8.94% out of a successful course to develop our app. So students, can I say this should be the recommendation? If you are a good finance guy, world prize winner will write this as the recommendation. What do you think, Sajal?
Yeah.
This should be the recommendation, right? Students, can you just take this down in your notebook or the Prescene material? This is outside the box thinking. And I was challenging the class whether anyone will be thinking in this perspective. So can you just take this down, students? This is outside the box thinking. Priscilla, can we have a small discussion if possible?
Yes, sir.
Priscilla, were you able to think outside the box like this?
No.
All right. No. So students, can you write it down, please? Can you write it down? Because I want you, because you should create value to the company. That is the ultimate goal of your employment. So this should be the right, I can say the best financial guru will tell this should be the recommendation. No need debt, no need equity. Correct. And let's go with the project and take the money from that.
Can I ask a question, please?
Definitely.
But with the time constraint, how do we manage to think of all these in 45 minutes? Is there a way?
You must think like that, but it will come with our classes only, Priscilla. You get what I'm saying? Because one thing I can say, this is our fourth mock, agree? And anyone won't be perfect in the fourth mock. But today, if you are maintaining a journal, I'm always saying, even if you are the best in the class, maintain a journal and write down the points, whatever we are learning. Because every day we should learn something outside the box. And this is critical thinking, I'm saying. It is possible, Priscilla, because if you want to win the world prize, you should write this as the answer. So please take this down and you can put Y in the chat box, and I'm readily available for a discussion. Anyone who likes to discuss, you can talk to me. I think Mr. Sayed, I think is very silent all these days. Mr. Sayed is very quiet for these days.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Yahya.
Yes, if you see that you said overseas subsidiaries, Now they have only sales staff. They don't even have course manager, topic manager. So all the revenue they are generating is straight going to head office, as in my understanding. So how can we borrow from them, because they are not keeping anything with, I guess as far as this costing concerned, you can generate from that course. That is
Yes,
fine.
yes, you got the point.
Borrowing
Like,
from subsidiary, there's nothing there apart from the marketing people who are getting commission and salaries maybe.
correct.
So this is my point.
No,
I don't know
I'll
whether-
come to the point. So you agree, no? We are controlling this company. Do you agree with me, Mr. Yeah, we control these
Yes.
subsidiaries. So can we control their revenues? Possible or not possible?
Yeah, that we
Yes,
can.
we can, right? So in a particular situation like this, can we quickly change the accounting policies by making?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
That's correct, no? By making a change in the accounting policy,
absolutely. Yes.
using our auditors, and quickly we can get the loan, because this is 100% control. But in a case we have an NCI, then the problem comes into the picture.
My point is, will not examiner ask, will be thinking that the thing I am saying, like only salespeople are working there, and how can you borrow? The simple question.
I got the point, but still, this is a controllable. For example,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that
If you
sales,
explain all this, then it's fine. What I'm
correct. But the thing is that this question, they are asking you the possibilities only, not the process. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you are asking me to give the process of how we can do it, but the question was possibilities. Can you give the possibilities? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't say you're wrong. You are correct. You are correct here. I don't say anything wrong here, but you are correct. But I am saying, with a systematical financial analysis, we can do that. It is possible. Like example, what I can say is here, you may be knowing Apple. So if you see Apple, most of the Apple products in Asia is operating in a sales model rather than a production model. What do you think here? Yes, sir. And let's assume countries like Madagascar, countries like Luxembourg, all are tax havens. No? So in that countries, you can borrow money for your own country. Are you getting the point what I'm saying? You can use a tax haven and take money. Are you clear here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you very much. So I feel everyone has got the correct point of view of thinking. So I will write that point last, but I think this gives you a better clarity there. Okay, so debt, formal loan, inter-subsidiary loan. So these are the things. So just to make it little more practical, we cannot go for a bond issue. We cannot go for a bond issue or debentures since we are not yet listed. And students, can I ask you a frank question? Do we need to get listed for $2,000? Sajal, for $2,000, do we need to get listed? No need, right? Cost benefit analysis, because for this 2000, when we get listed, we need to go through compliances. We should follow the stock market regulation. We should have corporate governance. We should appoint 4 committees. I am telling you, the money you spend on formalities will be more than $2,000. So I will write that point as well. So we are not yet listed, and for N $2,000, going to be listed is not a wise choice. Going to be listed is not a wise choice. It's not a wise choice because we will be incurring lots of compliance cost, in the Northland. Agree, no, students? In the Northland, since it is a well-developed economy. What do you think, students? Yes or no? Well-developed economy, because in well-developed economy, students, the cost of compliance is very, 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 very high. It's not easy. So students, before I go into the equity aspect, are you clear with the debt aspects? If you are clear with the debt aspects, you can put Y. Thank you, students. And again, students, I'm telling, the limitation is not there. Your thought process is unlimited, but think like a finance manager. So we'll come to the equity. So the best equity option we have at the moment, one equity is retained earnings. So do we need to issue any shares, or can we go from retained earnings, Mr. Sajal? Because if you observe, our retained earnings balance itself is having a significant number. Even though we had forex losses, everything, still if you see, our retained earnings is 12,021. So do we have accumulated profits to finance the fund? Possible or not possible? Yes or no?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. So students, we do have accumulated profits to finance our project. So what I will do is I'll just write down here, retained earnings can be used to finance the project, since it is having a significant amount of 12,000 in dollars. So I'll just put the rough number, 12,000 in dollar, 12,000, after deducting a dividend payout of how much, students? Dividend payout of how much? Dividend payout of 90, 90,
95%.
95%, right? 95%. Now, students, just observe. I still say, if you observe, students, just observe this carefully. Our if you see our retained earnings previously 9,809, and if you observe, this profit was huge for the year, and we paid a huge dividend, and still we do have some money in the retained earnings. So my question to you is, why did we pay such a big dividend? Why did we pay such a big dividend? Can we have a small discussion? Priscilla, what is your observation? Why did we pay such a big dividend? But we have some reserves as well. But why did we pay a huge dividend?
What I'm going to suggest is so off, but this is what I was thinking. Could it be that they probably, missed, like, is accumulated dividend that they've paid?
I think so. And because maybe this can be, I can say no projects. One is they do not have any projects. Okay, that is one reason. And the other one I can say is they have paid a bigger dividend, because in the previous year they would have not paid dividends. Can there be situation like that, students? Yes or no? So just a bigger dividends, that means if they pay a bigger dividend now, that means in the future they will reduce it, right, students? If they pay a bigger dividend now, that means in future they will accumulate it for projects. Make sense or doesn't make sense, students? Accumulate for projects. That is the meaning of that, I can think about. So students, just remember that. So they paid a bigger dividend because they did not have any bigger project as well. So students, what I will do is I'll write down here, they paid a bigger dividend since they have no much projects. Agree? No much projects. And can I ask you one question? $12,000 for this business, I think more than enough, students. $12,000 for this business is more than enough as a retained earnings, because we are a business where we are operating purely on bootstrap. That means we do not have any assets which we own, and we are just doing it on a flexible basis. So students, I can say retained earnings will be a good choice. Further, since we have paid a huge dividend, we can convince the shareholders, we can convince the investors, I can make it investors, to be patient for this project success, So we can say that as well at the moment. So I will come to the next point. Issue of rights to the existing shareholders when we have a strong retained earnings will not be a financially feasible option. Correct, right, students? Because when we have a lot of retained earnings and it is manageable, it's not a financial feasible option, I can generally say. So students, I just did the equity component very, very well. And I can observe that students, you are also getting the picture that this is like a finance manager writing to the board. So I'll write down here the cutting edge technology. So I'll write down the cutting edge technology needs $2,000 only. $2,000 only. If we consider the costing of our courses, we can easily raise the funds through one bespoke course. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? One bespoke course which will be sufficient to invest in this project. So students, I will just expect this one. Cash cow. Students, can you tell me what is our cash cow course? Cash cow course, students, can you tell me? Our cash cow course. Our cash
Accounting
cow.
for directors.
Excellent. Accounting for directors is our cash cow course, because I will show you the page number, students. I think it's in the page number 16 for sure. I'm 100% sure. Page number 16. So I'll just go to here. If you saw that, you can just put quickly where you found it. But I can remember. Mr. Murthy, can you tell me the page number if possible? Will be a great support. But you are correct there. Accounting for directors, it was there, students. I can completely remember. I think it's there. I think it is there in page number 15, if I am not mistaken. Students, anyone can use the chat box. I got the answer, I think. No, can someone quickly do the research, students? This is the Prescene knowledge. Here, page number 13. Page number 13. Some of these courses are very popular and run several. For example, accounting for directors and managing risk runs how many times a year, students? 4 times a year. How many times a year, students? 4 times a year. So what I will do is I will specifically highlight this. Sorry. I'll specifically highlight that so that it is very clear. This page is very important, students. So this is our cash cow. 4 times a year, it is sure that it will be running. So can we write down that, students? Yes or no? So I can say a cash cow we can invest. So I'll write down here. Accounting for directors course can be used to finance the app. Okay, now the part A requirement is done. The class highest is Sajal. Sajal, you got 88, right, Mr. Sajal? If I'm not mistaken, how many marks did you get, Mr. Sajal? 80 odd something. I think he got
84.
84, which is the topper. But 84 marks means you have lost 150 marks is the exam paper. So you have effectively lost around, I can say, 76 marks. Correct? Correct, bro. So
Yes.
do you observe where you lost the 76 marks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Part
or
A
no?
of the question.
Part A of the question you wrote very well, but this is my answer is practical. And
Correct.
students, your answers needs to be practical, not late, needs to be practical. So this is the world class level of writing. So before we go into the financial capital, everything, can we have a small discussion, students, feedback, so that it will be very clear? So I'll start with Priscilla. Priscilla, any questions you have now?
No.
Are you having any confusion with my answer, or is my answer satisfied to you?
Very satisfactory. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So I will ask the individual feedback. Mr. Murthy, any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Jose, any questions?
No, sir. It's better than expected. It's very simple.
Very simple, right?
Very simple.
Very simple, right? Common sense. Okay. Mr. Asanka, any questions?
No, Mr. Nofel, really, I joined to the class bit of late because he's here every day and I liked him. But it's whatever I listen to you now is clear for me. So I'm happy on that one.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Ali, is it clear for you on the conceptual way of thinking? Mr. Kamrul?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Kamrul, any questions? Kesia?
It's very clear, sir.
Very clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will go to Mr. Krishna. Any questions you can ask me? So
No,
this
sir.
is how we develop students. This is how we develop. Mr. Nirosh, any questions you can ask me? Mr. Funny? Shruti? Sayed?
No questions, sir.
Sir, one second.
Thais?
No questions.
Yahya?
No question, but the only concern is maybe it's too early to say the time factor, I think. Because I was struggling with the time as well when I was doing it. I couldn't even read what I typed actually.
Thank you. Thank you. But it will improve. We have time. Vishnu?
No, sir.
Zavid, any questions? Okay. So students, I think we have completed the discussion as well. We did not speak on equity, we spoke on equity, but I told you retained earnings is a part of equity. So we considered that as an equity, but writing too much on a theory rights issue won't work out. So that is the understanding there. Okay. So students, now I think this is very, very clear. So let's come to the application of financial capital, what we need here. So students, what I can go is I can use the Prescene data for financial capital. So the financial capital, what I am going to specifically concentrate is costing. So students, can you tell me what are the financial capital we can put here? I can say main financial capital we need here is who is the dominant person, students? The trainer, right? The trainer fee is the financial capital we need. The commission payment we need financial capital. Yes or no, students? For the accommodation, food, everything we need financial capital. So can I ask you one question? Is this costing table relevant or not relevant for your final answer? Not mugging up, but as a finance manager, you need to know your costing, right? Whatever said and done. Agree or not agree, students? Yes or no? So Priscilla, are you clear with where financial capital went wrong?
Yes.
Yes. So students, let's start writing this so that you will be confident in the exam day, because frankly speaking, students, you need to know integrated reporting, but you need not mug up this. You need to apply like what Sajal is. If you observe, Sajal's answer for the part B was extremely strong. I can say he has developed it thinking like a finance manager only. Okay, I'll write down here. Trainer will definitely require financial capital to fund a course project. The dominant financial requirements will be for trainer, I can say trainer fee. Agree, no students? And then the accommodation, food for the delegates. Look at the verb I'm using, students. Delegates and the commissions paid plus the remunerations for administrations such as course manager, topic manager, and admin staff. So students, this is how financial capital is essential in this point of view. So students, before I move into the manufactured point, are you clear here? Yes or no, students? Is that clear? If it is clear, you can put Y in the chat box. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. This is the application. So students, manufactured capital, I can say the application first. So I'll write down here. We need manufactured capital. We need manufactured capital. Like I can say training room, comma, furnitures. Agree, no students, comma, furniture. And I can say projectors for state of art facilities. However, as per the business model, we need not acquire them. We need not what, students? Acquire them. No need to acquire them, but we can hire them for a period of 3 to 5 days, and maximum for how many days, students? Maximum for 10 days. Do you see, I am not copywriting the case study, students. I'm applying this in a drafted manner where the stakeholders will understand. That means we are not buying, we are hiring that. Okay, so students, that makes a lot of sense here. And then intellectual capital, I can generally say the intellectual capital, I can say, is the topic managers contributes. The topic managers contributes for intellectual capital. Can you tell me why does the topic manager contributes? Because students, I'll just show you this one so that it will be very clear for you, the guidance they have given. Because if you observe, students, in this page, we have about the topic managers, because we have how many topic managers? 5 topic managers in the area of management, accounting, finance, specialized courses, oil, gas, and engineering. Topic managers supervise the course managers who specialize the respective areas. They are responsible for managing quality of the topic area. So can I ask one question from Priscilla? Priscilla,
Yes.
the trainer is ultimately designed by the topic manager and the course manager. What do you think? Because trainer does not have the autonomy to do his own training, because the training courses are within the framework of trainer. What do you think, Priscilla? Yes or no?
Yes.
Delivery can be different. The style of presentation, the connect with the humans can be different. But if you see the intellectual capacity is still with the organization. So I can say topic managers contribute for intellectual, since, so I'll continue here, students, since they develop the framework for the scheme of work and content that needs to be provided, by the whom? Can you tell me, students? By the trainers, therefore the content and the relevance is the major critical success factor in this segment. Makes a lot of sense, students. So I will underline the term critical success factor. Students, this verb critical success factor, you need to tattoo that in your palm or your hand, because this you should write it in the exam day. Wherever it is can be attached. So please remember critical success factor. Okay, so human capital is very essential. So you can use the maths as well. So students, we have 30 course managers, 5 topic managers. So I'll write down 5 topic managers, comma, 30 course managers. Agree, no, students, if I am not mistaken. And then students, if you observe the trainers, students, we have a huge trainer base, if I'm not mistaken. And how many trainer students? 300 trainers. And also students, if you observe, I think we have our administration function as well. So if you observe our administration function, we have how many staffs in total, students? 60 staffs, right? If I'm not mistaken, 60 staffs in the head office. So students, overall, how much we have created jobs? 90, 95, and I can say 395. So 395 job opportunities has been developed by this firm, which is I can say which is a commendable thing, which is a commendable factor, because 395 jobs is a commendable factor, students. You are contributing to the economy. It's a big amount. 395, it's a big number. It's a commendable factor where skill set is more important than knowledge. Agree, right, students? Because more than the knowledge, here the skill set is important. So students, we have connected that as well. And then social and relationship capital. So social and relationship capital is one thing. Students, can you remember we conducted a bespoke course in a hospital? Can you remember that, students? Can someone remember that, students? We conducted a bespoke course in a hospital for nurses. If you can remember that, can you please put a Y in the chat box, students? We conducted a bespoke course for nurses in a hospital. I can completely remember that. And I think as a finance manager, you should remember that, students, because you need to understand it is one thing that we have done a bespoke course. So just remember, I think it is here. Directors of major. So I will highlight that as well, students, so that you won't find it difficult. So I will highlight that as well. So for example, so here they are saying, I'll highlight that. Okay, for example, the directors of a major teaching hospital recently requested a course on recruitment and training junior nurses. One of the course managers identified the trainer, and a 4-day course was done. So what do you think? Developing in a major hospital, is that a good or not a good relationship? Major teaching hospital. Physical evidence, right? So I'll write down here. A relationship with major teaching hospital, with major teaching hospitals, and well diversified experiences, including engineering field, including what students? Engineering field, including engineering field. So students, I think that gives you a better understanding, students, of what we are thinking here. So that is a good point of view. So students, natural capital. So one thing I can say in the natural capital is, students, we are hiring furniture, projector, training rooms. So students, is our emission completely lesser than a person who owns the item? What do you think, Priscilla? Yes or no? Because if you observe, we are not taking anything on a permanent basis. So are we conserving the environment? Yes or no, Priscilla?
Well, but when
Because if I build a building and if I have all the assets compared with the renting out, which is better in natural point of view?
yeah,
Sustainability.
better, but still, it's still, you're not adhering to the footprints, trying to preserve.
Airlines, yes. Airlines, I can agree. Our 8 hours journey is something to be thought about on natural capital, because the footprint will be very high. But other than that 8 hours journey, if you see renting out compared with owning, it is reducing. So I'll just write down here the rental business model. The rental business model will definitely reduce the carbon emission, and further I can come to this point. Further, I can say one concern we may have is that I can specifically mention concern is the flight journey of 8 hours, which will be more carbon, which will be creating more carbon footprint, which can be minimized in the future, full stop. So students, just an application, but Sajal's answer is the best answer, I can still say. But if you come into the first requirement, what we did, I think that was a practical one, but this is the application. I have summarized it, but do you observe, students, it's almost less words, but more intellect. Lesser you talk, more you, I can say, the more information you gather, the less, but the more is having inefficiency also. So students, this is the application of integrated reporting. And students, any doubts, any questions you have, you can ask me on the integrated reporting as well. If it is fine for you, students, you can put Y in the chat box. Any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you, students. Thank you very much.
I just have a little. See, the second part of which Mokai was trying to do is I was trying to link with that mobile app, and now your analysis is based on only on the current.
Because you should read the reference material carefully. Because if you observe the reference material, they are specifically, secondly, they have mentioned. You get what I'm saying? So there only you have went wrong. You get what I'm saying? Secondly means it's a new journal. You get the point?
No, I understand that. But what I mean is, shouldn't we need to connect with the
No, not required. Because if you see the reference material differentiates it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's good.
Fair enough, right? So
Yeah,
students, that's the thing I'm saying. So I'll have a small observation. I'll ask with Mr. Sajal, which I observed from some students. Mr. Sajal, can we have a
Yeah.
small discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Sajal, can I ask you, now if you gather information as a person, do you take more from reading rather than video content? How is your video content? You read more or you watch videos more? What
I
is
watch
your...
videos. I prefer watching videos.
You prefer watching videos than reading?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, very interesting. And one thing that was a shock, you prefer watching video. Good point. What was the secret of your presence of mind, Mr. Sajal?
For the second part of the answer,
Generally, because your answer had a bit better presence of mind. You were to the points.
basically, I stick to the question. For example, in this question, they asked to evaluate the human capital, social capital. So I stuck to the point and wrote about it.
Super, super. You spend more time on reading the questions, correct, Mr. Sajal?
Yeah. Reading and seeing that what exactly the question wants.
Great. So that's a good point. So students, just observe what you are saying, read the question little slowly, understand what you are expecting from you. And students, again, remember, this paper is a master's gateway, MBA gateway. So they will never ask you to write rote learned answer. You should think in a master's point of view and develop the answer. So students, for tomorrow, I will send you the mock today itself. Mock number, I think 5 is already developed. I just need to do the programming in the platform. It will be done within 15 minutes and you will get the answer. You can send it to me by tomorrow night, 10 p.m. I will put it in the portal as well. And I will correct the answer and we will do the discussion on the Thursday. And the co-activity table, don't worry, other students, I will do that. But now you should, this is important. More than the co-activity table, practical thinking is important, but co-activity table theory also will be completed in the class. So students, finally, I'll just give you around 1 minute. Any questions you have, you can comment or talk to me. If you are fine with today's class, you can put Y in the chat box. Shruti, I can hear whatever you are talking. Thank you, Priscilla. So thank you very much, students. I feel everyone is fine with today's lesson. Maintain your journal, students. And I just want to do just 5 minutes I need to do. Students, I need to show some mistakes that should not be done in the class. And since we are working together in our class, and I think we should compare the answers and learn, because we are doing a mind analysis. So I want to say some things which should not be done in the exams. So I'll just show some answers, students. Now students, do you see this answer? Yes or no? Do you see this answer? Agree? Can you please put Y in the chat box, students, if you can see this answer? So I will just recollect and show. So when you're seeing in a question, students, you will get my feedback here. All the green color lines are my feedback. So just remember, these are my feedback. So students, now if you observe, Trayyner is a family band. Most of the dividend payout to Nasir family. That's a wrong thing. Never do that, because Nasir family owns only how many percent? 20%. So the examiner will really get pissed off, because he has given you the case study. in advance and you are still writing wrong and you are the finance manager, professional due care, CIMA code of ethics. And then students, bank also will invest. Please avoid the term invest for bank. Again, master's gateway, think in the master level. The examiner is very, very, very strict with these small mistake. Bank will never invest. Bank will always, what students? Lend. Lend. It's not an English grammar mistake. It's a financial literacy issue. Financial literacy issue. So I think this too should be avoided, students. This too should be avoided. Never use the term lending. So I want you to give a very, very important thing. And students, just remember, I have given feedbacks and overall feedback. So thank you very much, students, for your present of today's class. I will meet you on the Thursday. Thank you very much, students. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night. Thank you.